Hi everyone, meteorologist Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Now streaming studio. There's a lot to unpack from the forecast as we head over the next 24 to 48 hours as a strong low pressure system set to really barrel through the state will bring in the potential for severe weather the next couple days. Some areas of heavy rain for parts of the state. Very strong winds, much colder conditions, maybe even some snow for parts of the Nebraska Panhandle. So again, a lot to talk about tonight. Again, to start off with our weather headlines. Again, some isolated severe storms are going to be possible as we head into our Wednesday night, especially across parts of northern and eastern Nebraska. More pronounced threat, though, as we head into the day on Thursday, as that surface low makes its way across the state. We'll have some better dynamics in the atmosphere, and I think a little greater potential for more numerous severe thunderstorms, I think, into the day on your Thursday. Again, models continue to trend a little bit further to the north with the track of the low pressure system. That's likely going to keep the areas of heaviest rain across the northern tier of the state into parts of South Dakota, and then for our neighbors off to the east into Iowa and Minnesota. And then as we look ahead to the day on Friday, it's going to be much colder, and there are going to be some really strong winds through the day on your Friday, especially for Lincoln and eastern Nebraska. So we'll talk about that here in just a second. First, we'll look at our surface map. Again, we've been looking at it the last couple days, but here comes this low pressure system. It's going to deepen and push out of eastern Colorado as we head through Wednesday evening. Out ahead of that surging warm front is where we're going to watch for the potential for some isolated strong to severe thunderstorms, somewhat limited in our moisture. So again, that will kind of put a cap on the potential for severe thunderstorms tonight. But again, there's still that potential. You see by noon Thursday, that surface low beginning to push into southwestern Nebraska, and then we'll kind of track to the east and northeast through the state on Thursday. So in the morning, kind of isolated to scattered showers and severe thunderstorms possible, becoming more numerous for parts of northern and western Nebraska through the day on Thursday. And then out ahead of a dry line with this system, we could see those strong to severe thunderstorms across parts of eastern Nebraska into the Thursday late afternoon and evening time frame. But again, you can see here Thursday night that widespread areas of rain on the northern and western end of this or quadrant of this low pressure system. It's in these areas that we could see some pretty significant rainfall totals. Thursday night into the day on Friday, that system continues to track to the east. Still likely going to see some wraparound moisture with this system as we head through the day on your Friday, but really strong winds on the back end of the system with much colder conditions. Then you'll also notice it's going to be pretty cloudy, I think, for a lot of us through the day on Friday, and that cloud cover is likely going to hang around as we head even into our Saturday as well, which again could impact, or likely will impact, the viewing of that partial solar eclipse Saturday morning into the early afternoon. So in terms of the severe weather threat for your Wednesday night, this is what it looks like. Again, marginal risk across parts of north central, northeastern, and into east central sections of the state. Again, marginal risk means some isolated severe thunderstorms are going to be possible. Large hail would likely be our primary threat if we do get storms going tonight, as well as some gusty winds and some locally heavy rain. Like I mentioned, though, that severe weather threat is likely more pronounced into the day on Thursday. We have a marginal and slight risk for severe weather across central and eastern sections of the state. Again, there's going to be a lot more twisting and turning of the winds into the day on Thursday with that low pressure system tracking through the state. So a lot of low level shear that could, again, cause storms to begin to rotate. And along with that, we're going to have, again, a strengthening low level jet, really strong winds aloft moving overhead the region. So again, all those things will combine for that likely increased severe weather threat into the day on your Thursday. Unlike Wednesday, when really it's just large hail, Thursday could see all modes of severe weather. A few tornadoes are going to be possible too. I think especially across parts of central Nebraska, those areas shaded in brown are going to be, I think, under the highest risk to maybe see a couple of those isolated tornadoes, as again they'll be closest to kind of that triple point where again all these intersecting boundaries meet and we see really the most twisting and turning of our winds in the lowest levels of the atmosphere. So again, that's where we have that highest risk, I think, for a few isolated tornadoes for the day on Thursday, again late Thursday afternoon into the evening time frame. But again, even further to the south and to the southeast, there is at least that low end chance for an isolated tornado for the day tomorrow. In terms of rainfall, again, like I mentioned, over the past several days, the track of this system critically important into who sees some heavy rain and who doesn't. At the beginning of the week, this swath of heavy rain was about 50, 60, 70 miles further to the south. But again, through the week, models have continued to trend The heaviest rain just a little bit further to the north. So again, right now, it looks like the northern tier of the state could see 1, 2, 3 inches of rain, maybe even more than that as you head across parts of South Dakota. Lesser amounts as you head further to the south into the southern sections of the state. We may only see a few hundredths of an inch, if any moisture at all, across parts of extreme southern Nebraska. In Lincoln, we're probably in that quarter to three-quarter inch range in terms of rainfall potential with the system as it moves on through, and likely a lot of that would come if we see some stronger thunderstorms Thursday evening as those storms develop along that dry line. Also with this system, at least good news for those folks in the Panhandle, is snowfall amounts have trended downward with this system. Again, we're going to see enough cold air pulled into the system on the back end that likely Thursday night into early Friday, we'll see a changeover from rain to snow. Again, the European model has some snow across parts of the Panhandle into the Sandhills, and the American model, again, also trending downward with those snowfall amounts, but again, keeps it in about the same place across parts of the Panhandle and into the Nebraska Sandhills. So again, about that time of year, again, to see at least some snow across parts of the state as we're now into mid-October. In terms of wind with this system, we have a high wind watch that's been issued for parts of central and western Nebraska from 10 p.m. Thursday to 7 p.m. Friday. Just because the high wind watch is in these areas doesn't mean that other places won't see those strong winds. Everyone will see some pretty blustery conditions over the next 24 to 48 hours. It's just in these areas that we think we're going to see those really top-end wind gusts, which could get up to around 60 miles an hour from that Thursday night into the day on Friday time frame on the back end of this system. If you look at the future wind gusts, again, as we head into Thursday afternoon, already pretty blustery, variable wind direction, though, just depends on which side of the low you are on. For eastern Nebraska, it's more out of the east and southeast as that air gets wrapped into the low. On the back end, it's more out of the north and northwest. So as we head towards Thursday night, you can start to see those winds really begin to ramp up for the western sections of the state, gusting as high as 30 to 40 miles an hour. Then through the overnight hours into Friday, we're looking at those wind gusts being upwards of, again, 40 to 50 and maybe upwards of 60 miles an hour at times. For Lincoln and eastern sections of the state, we'll likely see that change over to more northerly and northwesterly winds as we head through Friday morning and then into the afternoon. But again, we could still see those winds gusting 40 to maybe 45 or 50 miles an hour at times through Friday afternoon and even into Friday evening. So again, a lot to talk about there, a lot to unpack. If we zoom in and take a closer look and try and time you through some of the things we're going to be watching out for through the next 24 to 48 hours, again through Wednesday evening, some isolated showers and thunderstorms possible. We're going to keep an eye as we head over the next few hours for those storms to develop again along that warm front. Again, you can see our in-house model starts to pop those up around 9, 10 o'clock in parts of eastern Nebraska. Again, large hail will be possible with these. And then as we head through the overnight hours, again, isolated to kind of scattered activity kind of drifting off to the north and to the northeast. By Thursday morning, dealing with partly to mostly cloudy skies across the state. Through the day on Thursday, those isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms become more numerous, especially for parts of central and western Nebraska as that low pressure system begins to push into southwestern Nebraska. And then into Thursday, later afternoon and early evening time frame is when those storms could begin firing up in central and eastern Nebraska along that dry line and again near that triple point, where we could see some of those storms begin to rotate and produce again not only a few isolated tornadoes but large hail, damaging winds, and locally heavy rain. So again, Thursday evening plans, probably between that 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock window, if you're in Lincoln or eastern Nebraska, need to be monitored. Again, for the threat for some stronger thunderstorms. So if we see here those storms, again, continue to quickly push off quickly to the east and northeast, but all this moisture, again, continues to wrap around this low pressure system as the low itself continues to track to the east and to the northeast. So then overnight Thursday, end of the day on Friday, that low finally kind of tracks into eastern Nebraska. We see those strong winds on the back end of that system by Friday morning. Some more isolated to scattered light to moderate rain continues across parts of northern and eastern Nebraska. I think by Friday afternoon, we're dealing with more isolated light rain showers across the region, but cloudy, much colder, and again, very windy conditions expected across the state. Even as we head towards Friday night, we're still going to be dealing with those breezy winds and very cloudy conditions across the region. Now, in terms of temperatures over the next several days, lows into Thursday morning. Again, thanks to the surface low drawing up warmer, more moist air into the region, lows will be a bit warmer. We're looking at mid to upper 50s, low 60s for a good chunk of central and eastern Nebraska tonight. Further to the north and to the west, we're looking at lows in the mid to upper 40s and low 50s. High temperatures on Thursday, going to be one of those days. Again, we're in far western Nebraska. It's much cooler with highs only reaching the mid to upper 40s. And in parts of south central, southeastern Nebraska, it's mid to upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Into Friday morning, lows anywhere from the mid 30s to the upper 40s for most, but then high temperatures don't move a whole lot as we head into the afternoon, only reaching anywhere from the low 40s to the low to mid 50s across the state, and likely by Friday afternoon, many of us have feels like temperatures in the 30s and 40s. So again, it will be a pretty chilly, windy, wet, raw October day for us, and again, kind of fitting that it's Friday, October 13th, that we're going to have one of those days. Into the weekend, Saturday morning, again, chilly in the west, mid to upper 20s, low to mid 40s in the east. Saturday afternoon highs staying on the cool side, mid 40s to mid 50s. Again, plenty of cloud cover continuing into Saturday. Sunday, again, chilly in the west, mid to upper 20s, low 30s, upper 30s, low 40s in the east. And then Sunday afternoon, should see more sunshine, but temperatures stay on the cool side, anywhere from the upper 40s to the upper 50s across the state. 7-day forecast looks like this. Again, unsettled weather Thursday, Friday. Could see some lingering showers into the day on Saturday. Again, cool and breezy to start the weekend. And then just cool on Sunday as that wind finally dies down. Monday to start the work week stays on the cooler side with highs in the mid to upper 50s, mostly sunny. And then low to mid 60s by next Tuesday and Wednesday, with, again, generally dry conditions, but slightly warmer conditions across the state. So, again, a lot going on for us over the next couple days. Again, as always, keep it tuned to 1011 both on air and online for all of the latest forecast details.